Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take the topic that is file handling. Already you have gone through the videos of mine, but today we are going to take a live session on file handling. So I hope everybody is present for this session. So let us start. So file handling is basically we use it for storing the data, for retrieving the data. And using Python, we can create files and we can store data into the file and we can read data from the file. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to cover up the topics that is reading the data from a file. And that is what we're going to take in this particular session. So there is a file in front of you. I will just show you a text file which I have created, and that is this one. This is just a text file, txt file, and there is a simple text that has been typed in this particular file. It is a simple story. So now we'll just close this file. I'll just close this file, and now we will do some coding. That is, just let me take one new screen. Okay, so story.txt file, children, make sure that it is in the same folder as what you are storing the location where you're storing your programs. So for example, if you want to read the file, so we require a file handler. File handler is nothing but just a simple variable, but then it has a lot of sense because using that file handler only we are going to access the data from the file. So you can give any name to the file handler. For example, I will just give a name like file handler, and then I will use a special function which is called as the open function. So open function, and I will specify the file name, that is story.txt. Now make sure that your text file is in the same directory. Otherwise, then you have to specify the entire path like c colon double slash, and wherever the location of the file is, you have to specify the entire path of that particular file. So make sure at this point, just for practice session, just keep the text file and your program in the same folder. So this is story.txt and then comma, and there is one more argument that we need to pass is the mode. So basically, this is the file that I'm opening in R mode. R mode means we are going to open this file in read mode. So we can only read the data from this file. We cannot write the data onto the file. So that is the meaning of this particular R. So this particular file has been opened in R mode, and then if I have to read all the data from the file, so simple, I can simply use str. I can take a string variable, and simply I can use the file handler dot, and I can say read, and that's it. And then if I just use the print function and just pass the variable that is str. And now if I run this, let me just save the program first, file.py. And now you will see the output of this particular program is that it has printed the entire content of the file. So what does this mean is, if we use this read function, the read function basically it will read all the data from the file and return it as string. So I've typed it over here. So please understand this particular method or a function. It will read all the data from the file and it will return a string. This is very important that it is going to return a string. So str is going to be a string variable, and that string variable is going to have the entire content of the file. So read function will basically read all the data from the file, but if you want that only few characters you want to read. So in that case, you can specify the characters. For example, I specified 25. So 25 means, children, this particular function, that is the read function, is going to read 25 characters, or more technically speaking, it is going to read 25 bytes from the file. Now please understand, in computer, one byte is equal to one character. One character takes one byte. So when I say 25 bytes, basically it means 25 characters. Now characters can be the space also. So if there is any space, so even that space is considered a character. In fact, space is a character. So 25 characters we are going to read from the file. Now, from which point it is going to read? Basically, when we open the file pointer is pointing to the first character of the file. So when we say 25, so it is going to read the first 25 characters from the file, and then the file pointer will point to the 26th character. Please understand. So these 25 characters that we are that this particular file handler is going to read, so that is going to return in form of a string, and that will be received by the str variable, and then we are going to print that. So let us run this program and see the output of this particular code. And you can see now we have just that the first line, and that too, the if you count these characters, these are around 25 characters. So we have read only 25 characters from there, or we have read only 25 characters from the file. So this way you can read as many characters as you want, and if you do not pass anything, then by default the entire contents of the file will be read, and it is going to return in form of a string. So I hope this is getting clear to you. Now, for example, if I say one, read one. So what is this going to do? This is going to only read the first character. So if I run this program, and if you can see the output, this is just J. And if you see the original file, I will show you the original file, that is story.txt. So this is the original file, and you can see that only the first character J we have read, and that has been printed onto the screen. And for example, if I specify over here, that is 5. So in that case also, you can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this particular output we should be getting. And let us run this program, and now you can see the output, that is JOURN. That's the perfect output. But what if I just use this function and I print this, I mean paste it after the print function, and again I'm just using this print function. Now what output we are going to get? Can you guess the output of this particular code? Now what is going to happen over here is we are going to read the first 5 characters. So obviously the it is going to read the first 5 characters, and then we are printing that particular uh, string onto the screen. And then again we are using a file handler. Again we are using the same function. Now please understand, when the function has read 5 characters, the file handler will be pointing to the 6th character. So again, when we use this particular function, that is the read method, so in that case it is going to read the next 5 characters, and that is E, Y, I, N, and G. And if you run this code, you can see the output of this particular code. That is, you can see over here, this we have printed. Since we did not give any end argument, so it has come to the next line, and in the next line it has printed E, Y, I, N, G. So these are very basics that you should be understanding. This is the concept that should be very much clear to you. So this is all about the read method, or the read function of the object, that is the file handler. Please understand. And open is also a predefined function. We need to pass 2 arguments to this function, that is the file to open the file, and then the mode, in which mode the file we are supposed to open, that is in R mode or in W mode. W means we can write onto the file. Now writing onto the file we are going to see in the next uh, session, that is possibly on Saturday. Today we will just cover up all the uh, the functions which is used to read the file. So this is the read function, and now there is one more function which is called as read line. So read line, when we say and we do not pass anything, this is going to read the entire line from that file. So when I say this is the first, for the first time this statement is going to get executed, so the first line of the file we are going to read, and it is going to return as a string. So now if you run this function, I mean if you run this code and see the output, you can see the first entire line we have read. So if you see the original file, this is the original file, and you can see this is the output that we got. That is the first line that we got it. And among that particular line, if you want to read some specific number of characters, so in that case you can specify the characters like 5. So from the first line it is going to read the 5 characters. So this is how it is going to work. Now for example, what if I use this function, I'm printing this, and again I copy this and I paste this. Now let us just run this output, run this code and see the output. Now this is the output. Now it is the same output that we got, because if you are reading only 5 characters, and then again if you are trying to read the same method, if you are trying to execute, it is going to read the next 5 characters. So please understand how this is going to work, because even over here the file pointer is has only read 5 characters, so it is pointing to the next character, that is the 6th character. So it is going to be the same output. Please understand this. So this is how we're going to read line by line. And if I do not pass anything over here, now what output we are going to get? Let us run this code and see the output. So over here you can see we will get 2 lines, that is this was the first line and this is the second line. So 2 lines we have read from the file. Let me just see the file. So this is the file, and there are 2 lines that we have read from the file. This is the first line and this is the second line. So line by line you can read it. So obviously if I want to print the entire file using the read line function, what logic can you come up? So simple, we need a loop. So basically I will declare a variable and I will give that as an empty string, and then I will use a while loop and I say str. That's it. If it is, for example, not str, or what you can do is you can give one space over here, so it is going to have something. So this will be true to till the point there is an empty string, this and over here. So basically this is going to read the first line. The first time when it gets executed, it is going to read the first line and then it is going to print. Again the loop is going to run. Since str is going to have some contents, this while loop will be true, and again when this statement gets executed, now this time the second line will be read and it is going to return as the string. So if you run this particular code and if you see the output of this code, so this is the output, and you can see we have read the entire file, and then there is one space over here. Why we have this space is because of the print function, because we're not passing any end argument over here. So it is going to come to the next line, and then again next line we are going to print the line. So after every print there is one space. So this is how you can read the entire file using a read line. So in your exam, you might get a question where it has been asked to you to read a particular file line by line and then do some checking on to that line. So in that case, this is the logic that you are supposed to use. So this is all about the read line. Now one more that is very interesting is read lines, that is S. I will just show you. So read lines. Now this is very interesting function. Read lines basically reads all the lines of the file and it is going to return a list. And that's the big difference between read line and read lines. Read lines is going to read all the lines of the file, and it is going to return that all the lines will be written in form of a list. So basically L of str over here is going to be a list. So I just change that name to L because we are supposed to use proper conventions. So L is going to be a list now. And if you run this code and see the output, you will find a list. You can see that this is a complete list that got printed, and it is ending over here. And you can see that the first item of the list is going to be the first line. That is the first element of the list. And you can see that it is also showing the character, that is slash n, because even slash n is a character. So it is also showing that character slash n. So this is the first element of the list. And you can see then there is a comma, and then you can see there is a second element over here. This is the second element, then comma, the third element, fourth element. So every element is basically a line from the file. So for example, if I want to print the first line from the list, or I can say the first element from the list. So what logic will I use? The first line, if I want to print, what will I do? Can you just answer me? If I want to print the first line from this list, what logic will I use? Please type the logic into the chat box and post it. So some of them are saying that is L of 1. Okay. Anybody else? If I want to print the first line from the list, what will I do? Everybody, please post the answer. Print L of 1. Okay. And Ayush Gaur is saying L of 0. Now that is a perfect answer. So very good, Ayush, because list index value starts from 0. So how come we can use 1? We are supposed to use 0. If you use 1, it is going to print the second line and not the first line. So let me just run this code. And now you can see this is the output in front of you. And we have simply used that index value, that is this particular element from the list, and the index value starts from 0. So we have specified L of 0, and that's the output that we got. So simple. So if I just specify L, it is going to print the entire list. And if I want a particular line from that particular list, from the list, so I'm going to specify the index value. So simple. So that is how we are going to read. Now, for example, if I want to read the entire file and I want to print the lines from the file, which is starting from, or which are starting from the capital A. So we have to write a program which will print all the lines from the file, or only those lines from the file which is, or which are starting from the character A. Starting character should be A, capital A. What logic will you apply? Anybody? So we have all those lines in form of a list. So simple. I can only use a list traverser using a for loop. So I in capital L. So what is I going to have initially? I initially will be the first line, then the second line, then the third line. So if I use this print I, so definitely it is again going to print the entire file with the one space in between, one line space in between. And then inside this loop, what I'm supposed to do, I will only do a checking, that is I. So I is going to be a string, the first line, the second line, the third line, the fourth line. So I is going to be a string. So I can simply say if I of 0, because I is going to be a string, and when I say 0, that's the index value. So the first line is I, and the zeroth element means that's the index value of that particular string. I will simply say if it is equal to capital A, only in that case I will print I. That's it. So let us run this program and see the output. And you can see there are only two lines which are starting with capital A. So I hope you're understanding this, children. Everybody got it? Okay, few of them got the answer. Very good. So the slowly the concept is getting clear. So such type of program you're going to get in your question paper, definitely related to read lines and read or read line and read lines. At least 2 or 3 mark question is going to be there in your question paper, and then they will ask you to perform some operations on a few lines, and then you can just apply that logic. So this is the example. Now, how you can read the number of words in a file. That is one more program you are going to take. How can you read the number of words present in the file? What logic can you come up with? Anybody? How to read the number of words? And once you are able to do this program, you can also write a program to search for a particular word in the file. Even that you will be able to do it. Now we are supposed to count the number of words in a file. So the logic for this will be, we have to use a split function. Now split function, how it works, I will just show you. So I is going to be the first line, the second line, and so on. So I will be the line basically. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the str function, str variable, and I dot split, and that's it. This is not really going to give us the perfect output, and I will tell you why. But anyway, almost all we will get the output. And after this happens, so basically I'm not supposed to use the str, I'm going to use the L, because this particular function returns a list. So the line that we are going to have, I is going to be the line, so it is going to split that line into words. So how it is going to split? It is going to use the space. If there are spaces between two words, so obviously there are two words in that way. So if there are 7 words in one sentence, so it is going to return a list which is going to have those words as the elements of the list. I will just show you. We will use the print function and we will print the list every time. Let us run this for your understanding. I'm doing this, how the split function works. And you can see there are so many lists got displayed, and you can see this is the first line of the file, but now it's in a different form. What it has done is it has split this sentence into words. So this was the first word, this was the second word, the third word. And that's what I said, we are not going to have the perfect output, is because uh, after this word there is a comma in the sentence. We can have a comma also, so this does not make a complete word basically. So we have to take care of this comma also. We can do the programming for that also, do not worry. But almost all you're getting the idea of it. So these are actually the words. So this is the first list, and you can see the words, that is the sentence, are now converted into words. So now what next step we will have, if you have to just count the number of words, so in that case I have to use a variable before the, or I can say something like sum is equal to 0, and over here I can say sum is equal to sum plus len of L, isn't it? So every time we are going to have a list which is going to have the words, and we are going to count how many words are there in the list using the len function, and so simple. And then outside the loop we can use the print function, and we can display a message that the number of words are, and I can say some. Now let us run this program and see the output. And here it is, there are 249 words. 249 words. This was actually, I should have taken the number of characters, how many number of characters are there in the file. Even that was much easier than this one. So anyway, if you are able to understand this, you can also count the number of characters. How to count the number of characters? It is so simple, I don't require all this. So I will just put this entire thing, just put this as comment or a multi-string, and then this is the file that I've opened, and I also do not require read lines. I only required read and then the str, and so simple, just print len of str, that's it. And this way we are going to get the number of characters present in the file. So if you run this particular code, see the output. So the number of characters present in the file are, that is 1394 characters that are present in this file. So this is how you can perform some operations on the file. So on Saturday I'm going to show you how to write data onto the file, and then we are going to see how to write records, that is how to maintain the file as a database. That is what we're going to learn on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. I'm ending this session over here. I hope now this is very much clear to you. We will meet on Saturday now. Bye everybody.